Sai Ram. Shri Sai Satcharitra, Chapter 4. The beginning. Sai Baba's first advent in Shirdi. That is the topic of, main heading of Chapter 4. The subjects or the points, stories that are covered in this chapter are, first thing will be mission of the saints. Shirdi, a holy tirth. Personality of Sai Baba. Dictum of Gauli Bhuva. Appearance of Vithala. Ksheerasagar's story. Das Ganu's bath in Prayag. Immaculate conception of Sai Baba and his first advent in Shirdi. And 3 Vadas. Vadas are villas. These are the stories and points that are narrated in this chapter, chapter number 4. In the last chapter, I described the circumstances which led me to write Shri Sai Satcharitra. Let me now describe the first advent of Sai Baba in Shirdi. The first story. Mission of the saints. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, 7, shloka, that whenever there is a decay of dharma, that is righteousness, and ascendancy of unrighteousness, I manifest myself for the protection of the virtuous and the destruction of the vicious, and for the establishment of righteousness. I manifest age after age. Yada yada hi adharmasya glanir bhavati bharatam abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Transliteration is mentioned here. Now, we will take some more lines and then start diving deep into it. This is the mission of the Lord and the sages and saints who are his representatives and who appear at appropriate times and work in their own way to fulfill the mission. Now, let us understand. Yada yada hi adharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrita dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Now, when Lord Krishna says that, this particular shloka, which is one of the most important shlokas of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are doing Bhagavad Gita separately though, but we will also dive deep into this. What does Lord say in this is that whenever there is a decay of dharma, unrighteousness, we live in a world which is full of justification. Everything is justified. Everybody justifies everything of their wrongdoings. Debauchery is justified. Illicit relationships are justified. Intoxication is justified. Gambling is justified. Everything is justified. This is not something which is new to us. This is something which has always been happening, which happened during the days of Treta Yuga, when Lord Rama had to come and establish the Dharma. It happened during the Dwapara Yuga, where Lord Krishna came and established the Dharma. That is something which continuously happens. The churning of establishment of dharma and destruction of adharma, this process is a present continuous thing. Whenever this process is on, the Supreme Consciousness has promised and declared that I shall come. So what happens? We take in literal sense that Lord Krishna himself will come as a avatar of Kalki, as a Kalki avatar, as his own avatar. Not necessary. You are him. When we know what is dharma, when we understand what is dharma, dharma is not religion, dharma means righteousness, what is good and bad. When we know that, why don't we establish it? So the process of 3 levels of bhakti and the fourth being oneness is exactly what has been advocated here. First is a bhakti, the devotion of expectation. Second is a devotion of gratitude. Expectations get fulfilled, then gratitude. And third comes the instrumental devotion. What is instrumental devotion? Instrumental devotion is nothing but being the instrument. In other words, you have to establish the dharma. You should allow the Lord to display and operate through yourself the instrumental devotion before becoming the one, the fourth level of devotion where you become one with him. So that is what it's been advocated for us to understand. Now, he has very clearly said that I shall manifest age after age, not in the same name and form and shape necessarily, no. He comes in different forms and names. It is the same Chaitanya. Here it is indirectly talking about Advaita. It is just one. That same Brahman, when you practice instrumental devotion, you are the same Brahman. There is no difference. You are the Lord Krishna himself, so long as you are practicing instrumental devotion. What are we doing in Shunya Kriya as Saipanthis? We are also doing the same. We have taken up one vertical of establishing the righteous understanding, rightful understanding, non-commercial, clean, pure. We are also the instruments. But in this chapter, he is very clearly taking the supreme consciousness personally as a Purna Avatara. He descends time after time. That is what it says. This is the mission of the Lord and the sages and the saints. Very clear. What is the job of the saints? What is the job of the sages, rishis, saints, sadhus, yogis? It is the same. So it is very clearly saying what we should be doing. You can, from a normal being, become a saint or a sage. Nobody, there is no barrier. Everyone is equally and potentially divine. Then he goes on, who are his representatives, right? Here, a little bit of Dvaita, he says, the supreme consciousness's representatives are the saints and sages. They have not yet attained oneness with him. Who appear and at appropriate times. See, please understand, the appropriate time, decay of dharma, there is everything. Of course, we don't believe in the concept of time in otherwise as avadhutas, but here the moment, at the right moment, the divine descends and establishes the dharma and work in their own ways to fulfill the mission. Establishment of dharma is the mission, and they work in their own ways. Each one has their own way. For instance, when twice born, that is a Brahman, the Kshatriyas and the Vaishyas neglect their duties, and when Shudras try to usurp the duties of the other classes, when spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated, when nobody cares for the religious instructions, when everybody thinks himself very learned, when people begin to partake of forbidden foods and intoxicated drinks, when under the cloak of religion people indulge in malpractices, when people belonging to different sects fight amongst themselves, when Brahmins fail to do Sandhya adoration, And the orthodox leave their religious practices. When yogis neglect their meditation, stress on it, when yogis will neglect their meditation, when people begin to think that wealth, progeny, wife are their sole concern and thus turn away from the true path of salvation, then saints appear and try to set matters right by their words and action. This paragraph very clearly defines what is a dharma. Now there is one contentious thing, very contentious thing. See, here there is a mention of Varnashram, where he says that twice born as in twice, second birth as a human being or a Homo sapien is when you get one of these Varnas. Right? First we are all born as Homo sapiens. But when we are born again as Homo sapiens, which means that you have progressed with some baggage of karma phala, sanchita karma, as established, then you are born as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Finally, he says that Shudras try to usurp the duties of other classes. Please understand, here it is extremely contentious. We may get into a state where was Baba endorsing Varnashramas? Is Shudras inferior? Brahmana, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are superior. Is that true? So it will be rejected, right? Going by the geopolitical situation that we are in. But the true interpretations of Varnashrama, if you read the Manusmriti, where Varnashrama is mentioned, very clearly mentioned. Nobody is a Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or a Shudra at birth. Everybody is what they practice. So, not that you are born as a Brahmana, whose, let us say, your father is a Brahmana. And then you are born to him. By default, we think that we are Brahmins. No, we are not. Varnashrama is strictly based on the profession that you practice. The profession that you practice is what defines Varnashrama, not by birth. Very clear. Now, here, once we have rested that in Varnashrama, the practice is what matters. For example, I quote one person's example. Born to a Brahmin parent and starts his career by joining the armed forces, is a Kshatriya. Quits the armed forces, comes out, and he is a service provider as a consultant, is a Shudra. Then quits that and starts a business, is a Vaishya. So, after everything done, again starts the work of Dharma Sanstapana, doing Lord's work, is a Brahmana. Along with being a Brahmana, that person is also doing business, because Brahmanatva doesn't feed, because it is purely non-commercial practice. So, and doesn't accept dana. So then what happens? He has to fend for himself. He's a Vaishya. In Vaishya, being a Vaishya, he also is a consultant. He's a Shudra. So this is all, Varnashrama is obsolete. It's gone. It's over. It was prevalent. It was relevant. But it is no longer relevant. Let us not stress about it. Here, we have to look at it. This book was published about 100 years ago, almost 90 plus years ago. And Shri Govinda Raghunatha Dhabulkar comes from that orthodoxy. So in Sai Satcharitra, before it got published, A lot of things were added. Their own narratives. For example, this is English version of Sai Satcharitra, in which Shri Gudaji, who translated Sai Satcharitra into English, he has added his own narratives also. And Shri Dhabolkar also has added his own narrative. When Satcharitra was published, Shri Dhabolkar had left the body. So a lot of things have been added, but we should take the essence of it. So here it is not that one class of the ashrama, Varnashrama, is being spoken in a very condescending manner. No. It's very clear. It is, we have to take we should not take it literally, we should decipher and understand. Because if the Varnashrama comes from the Manusmriti, when you read Manusmriti and understand, which Ariji is going to be deciphering, it's very clear by birth, nobody is of any Varna, only by the practices. That is how it works. Now, this Varnashrama is not restricted only to India, across the world. Across the world, there is Varnashrama. No doubt about it. For example, if you go to United Kingdom or Western countries, each person, a potter who makes clay pots, ancient days, he is called as a potter. Here it is called as a kumbhar. In South and Maharashtra, in Hindi, it is called kumbhar. That's it. Kumbhar surname means a potter. That's it. A peasant. Here in South, it's called Gauda, Gounder, Gaur, in North, Jat, or whatever. Their surnames itself is peasants. Cooper. Cooper is a surname. And up north in Scotland. Coopers are the cask makers. They store the wine and whiskey and everything for it to mature. That is their community. Their surname is Coopers. So we feel, oh, okay, it's an English name. Varnashram was prevalent in every society. And it is not bad. Just that we misinterpreted in this country, we abused it. For example, barber is a surname, gardener is a surname. So many surnames. That is their profession. Likewise in India also, there is no difference. It was prevalent everywhere. Now, why people considered Shudra, professions of Shudra as lower is only because there is a scope for you to improve. Let us say for you, for example, you can be a good businessman, but if you want to restrict yourself to become a cobbler, I'm not saying being a cobbler is wrong, but being a cobbler and opening your own entrepreneurial skills, you bring out and you start your own footwear line, is what is, then you become a Vaishya. So that was what was encouraged. That's why it was saying that don't be there, come up, don't get stuck. So job creation, opportunity creation, self-evolution, that was the system there in the West as well as in India. That is Varnashram. It has nothing to do with the caste system. Today, it is degenerated, unfortunately. So that is what Sri Dhabolkar is saying. He is not talking about a caste and a class difference here. No, let us not have a doubt. And Baba would not have endorsed some nonsense like this. Second, we see the reference to Bhagavad Gita, shlokas of Bhagavad Gita in Sri Sai Satcharitra in many other places. First, it begins with Bhagavad Gita's first shloka. Bhagavad Gita is one of the shlokas. The first, as you start the Satcharitra, first it says, whosoever offers to me with love or devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, that offering of love of the pure and self-controlled man is willingly and readily accepted by me. So the first shloka is beginning of Satcharitra itself is a shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, we should respect here and understand, is a condensation of all the Shastras. Sare Shastron ka Saransh Bhagavad Gita. The summary of all the Shastras, Vedas, Upanishads, Aranyakas, Brahmanikas, Upavedas, Samhitas, the Sutras, everything put together, Puranas, excerpts of everything condensed and book of science or scientific book of law of karma is Bhagavad Gita, and that is something what is written in Bhagavad Gita is what is written in Satcharitra in a different way, story time, right? We go on. So that is the link between Bhagavad Gita and now he says, when nobody cares for religious instructions, the spiritual preceptors are not respected but humiliated. सच्चे गुरुओं का आदर नहीं होता है, संत महात्माओं का मतलब अवहेलन होता है जब when we condemn the righteous and rightful people. Just imagine any good avatar, true masters who has been left. रब ਨੂੰ नहीं ਛੱਡਦੇ, ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਦੇ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਛੱਡਾਂਗੇ? Look, they don't spare God. They don't spare, the world doesn't spare men of God, messengers of God. Where will they spare us? So that is adharma. When that goes up, and like Brahmins fail to do the Sandhya adoration, like basically what you are supposed to be doing, you won't be doing. And the most important thing, people fighting amongst themselves in the name of belief system. Vishnu is great, Shiva is great, Shakti is great, Krishna is great, Ram is great. I'm telling you, even here, Dvaitis and Advaitis used to kill each other. The Vaishnavas and Shaivas used to wage wars against each other and actually kill each other because they used to say Shiva is great or Vishnu is great. That kind of a nonsense happened on this soil. We are not aware of it. When that kind of a fight happens, that's what is adharma, escalation of adharma. And most, when under the cloak of religion, people indulge in malpractices. So this is something which is the most unfortunate thing which is happening. The business of religion, business of spirituality, commercialization of spirituality. Whenever I say that God cannot be bought, divine knowledge cannot be bought, yoga cannot be bought, nor these things can be sold. It comes from the grace of the Guru. You cannot buy the grace of the Guru. You can only offer the dakshina of the Guru. And Guru will take it only when he is convinced that you have learnt it completely. It is dakshina, not fees, no package deals. That is adharma, clearly mentioned in Satcharitra. What we Shunya Kriya yogis of Saipanth practice, non-commercial, no money, not even in the guise of charity. Charity, if you want to do somewhere else, no problem. We advocate charity. You don't have to necessarily do the charity under the umbrella of one spiritual organization only. No. You can do on your own, whenever, wherever, however. But in the name of religion, the commercialization of religion, or sorry, spirituality, commercialization of spirituality, commercialization of God, commercialization of divine knowledge, people charging money for that, is a sin, is a crime. It is one of the worst adharmas. That crime that people are committing, Lord shall ascend and destroy them. Clearly mentioned. No impostor will be spared. Krishna is very clear. He is very clear. We may have our alignment towards some of these imposters under the influence of your vashikarans or your love, or you also enjoy the drama of that person is all gone. But those people will be destroyed. Followers of such people will also be by default destroyed. Very clear. Very, very clear. This is what Lord Krishna has said, and it is true. So likewise, we go forward. So what is the definition of adharma? And why the saints and sages come? What is the purpose of saints and sages is all mentioned in these few paragraphs. When yogis neglect meditation, before we call ourselves yogis, let's be very clear. What is your responsibility? It is not just towards yourself. It is towards the dharma sanstapana. You performing the dhyana, you doing your sadhana is not just for yourself. By doing so, you are spreading the positive energy. By doing so, you are spreading the righteousness. By doing so, you are balanced yourself. By being balanced, you are an asset to the society. When people like you and me are assets to the society, society becomes better. So dharma samstapana is happening when a yogi forgets his meditation. That is the peak, pinnacle of adharma. So we are yogis. Let us not become adharmis. Let us do our sadhana strictly. Right. And when you are, people always think that wealth, progeny, wife is their sole concern, like, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Their own worldly wants. That's the only thing we live for. Lokayatas. Lokayatas are materialistic people. When that is at its peak, and he further says, thus turn away from the true path of salvation. What is the purpose of your life? The two realities of life in between is where we are in existence today. One, the birth which has occurred. Second, which is going to occur, the death. What is the purpose of your life? Is salvation. Salvation through the instrumental devotion also. That is the true purpose. Message is very loud and clear for Avadhutas of Shunya Kriya also. Bluntly put it across in black and white. When you, an Avadhuta, a yogi, forget meditation, it is a pinnacle of adharma. It has been imparted to you by your Guru, Shri Sai Satcharitra, not to just have it and while away or waste it. Practice it. This is given to you. It's a divine knowledge, divine practice is imparted. Please practice it as well. And if you don't do it, being a yogi, you all are yogis. No doubt about it. You all are Avadhutas. No doubt about it. I don't know if you have a doubt in your mind, but I am very sure all of you are Avadhutas and yogis. If you don't meditate, it is a pinnacle, peak of adharma. Very clearly said. So then saints appear and try to set matters right by their words and actions. Baba always never preached anything. His actions, his stories, they were the guiding lights. They were the ones who looked after his actions, his words. That's all guided us. They serve us as beacon lights. Beacon lights is basically, we know what it is. It shows the direction. Beacon light keeps blinking at a distance and we keep walking towards it, being fully aware that that's the right direction. They work as beacon lights and show us the path and the right way for us to follow. What does it say? They work as beacon lights, show us the path for us to follow and walk. And walk. Who's going to walk on that path? You and I. Just don't shift your responsibilities to your guru and saying that, oh, you decide. No, you decide. He is going to show you the way. He is going to show you the path. He is going to lead you. You have to walk your walk. There is no choice. Your humbleness and humility should be such that you are the path. You are the one who will carry me in the path. Fair enough. That can be practiced by becoming one with him. But to become one with him is your effort. There is nothing which will happen. It is not the doership here. Doership is laced with ego. Here, oneness. When you attain oneness with your Guru, there is no dualism. Then what you feel and express is fine. Till such time, till you attain that oneness, till you are sure that you are one with him, responsibility is squarely on your shoulder. Because every point in Shri Satcharitra or Bhagavad Gita, very clearly he says, I guide, I show you the way, I will enlighten you, I will even carry you, I will walk for you, but you should want to walk. You should want to be carried. The want of doing that is yours. Fine, I will walk your walk, but the decision is yours. Very squarely. No other book of spirituality can be as cut and clear like Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Sai Satcharitra. You should decide. Baba also said, he who cometh to my samadhi, his sorrows and sufferings shall cease to exist. You should go up to his samadhi. Blessed is he who has become one with me. Blessed is he who has become one with me. You should become one with him. That's the process is your sadhanas, jnana bhakti karmas. So we cannot escape our spiritual responsibility towards ourselves as well as the world outside. That is escapism. When we are convinced, yes, this is salvation or mukti or moksha, turya, kaivalya, whatever different names we call it, or shunya eventually for our avadhuta sampradaya, this is what I have to attain, I shall go. That firm decision is yours. That decision, you can't say that is Lord's. No. To become one with the divine is your decision. Once you become one with him, there is no you, there is no he. But your spiritual free will, that's why the universe or the divine or the universal system has given it to you. Very clear. We can't shy away from our spiritual responsibility towards thyself or towards the world. Right? Now, in this way, many saints, for example, basically Sri Govinda Raghunatha Dhabodkar is a reincarnation of Hemadripant, who was a minister in the court of the Yadava kings in Devagiri. He was a very great master. He was the one who wrote the shorthand, shorthand Lipi, Modi Lipi in Marathi. Then he passes and he is born again as Sri Dhabodkar. That's why Baba calls him Hemadripant. That's why his nickname is also Hemadripant or Hemadpant, who becomes the first trustee and administrator of the Shirdi Sai Sansthan, and also the great work for Sri Sai Satcharitra, he compiles and gives it. So since he is from Maharashtra, he has quoted the saints and sadhus and yogis and avatars of Maharashtra, right? We cannot restrict only to that. Here it goes on. In this way, many saints, for example, Nivrutti, Dhyandev, Muktabai, Namadev, Gora, Konai, Ekanath, Tukaram, Narahari, Narsimhai, Sajan Kasai, Shwata, Ramadas, and various others did appear at various times to show the right path to the people. And so the present advent came as Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. So here it says, he has quoted, as I mentioned, all the saints of Maharashtra. Let us not restrict from north to south, east to west, and all across. The saints have consistently come, whether it is Sri Ramana Maharshi, Swami Vivekananda, Mahavatar Babaji, Yukteswaragiri, Lahiri Mahashay, Paramahansa Yogananda, Vishuddhananda Saraswati, Railanga Swami. You have an endless list of names of Avadhutas who came. Avadhutas, yogis, saints, sadhus, in different names and forms. All these people did the same thing. They did not do any other thing other than dharma sanstapana. No other thing but for what is explained in this paragraph or as the reason for the saints ascent or descent on earth. What do they do? Mission of saints. So finally, he concludes this paragraph by saying, and so the present advent came as Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. Two things we need to dive deep into: the purpose of saints and how do we also become and part of that purpose of saints. By doing so, we become saints or avadhutas. Number one, instrumental devotion. Second, the advent of Sri Sai Baba of Shirdi. Two things we will talk. First, in multiple words and ways, we did mention and talk about the instrumental devotion. When any saint is descending, a saint descends with a proper purpose. It is not just that he or she descends once, he does his job or she does his job and he goes. No, it doesn't work that way. The doctrine and the gospel of that particular saint's order remains consistently, and so does that saint remains, or that monk or that saint or that sadhu or an avadhuta remains to establish the dharma in that same name and form without the body. That is the difference. For example, Sri Sainath Maharaj, let us say, shed the mortal body in the year 1918. Yes, he did. Is he not there? He is there as much he was there. He will always be there as much he was there, or as much as he is there. Sri Ramana Maharshi, we still go to the Tiruvannamalai, his ashram, experience the presence of Ramana. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, any saint, Gajanan Maharaj, Akkadkot Maharaj, anywhere you go, they remain. It is our delusion and illusion that since they have shed the body, they are not there. No. And actually, it is not that we neither believe that they are there, neither we believe that they are not there. We are a little confused. We have a very selective belief system. I'm not saying that that's wrong, but just that, ignorance. Because we are restricting those avadhutas to the body. For them, there is no body, is no significance at all, whether their own body or your body. Of course, they take care of you, they heal, they cure, they nurture, everything they do so that you will spiritually progress towards salvation. That's all, is their selfish interest. Baba, in one of the texts or one of the books, literature, Baba's story has been narrated, where Baba says, outside of Satcharitra, of course, he says that I'm a very selfish person. I'm extremely selfish. I help everybody. I'll resolve everybody's worries, miseries. I protect them all only because of I'm selfish. I'm so selfish that I want them all to dissolve in me. It's a metaphor. It's a love expressed. Nirvanancha Sakha is a book. He says, I am a very selfish man. I want everybody to dissolve in me. See the love. So, the only reason why saints, monks come is to establish the dharma, evolvers and dissolvers in themselves. That is their purpose. We cannot restrict them to the body that they live in. They have lived in. They are there. They are there as we are talking, they are with us and within us, around us. Now, I was first thing amongst the two things which we had to talk about in this particular chapter. How do we also become a part of the process of this saints, the mission of the saints? This is the topic of this chapter. How do we also become part of that their mission, part of their mission of their saints? How do we also become a part of it? By practicing instrumental devotion, by practicing, by becoming one with, by serving the purpose of the divine, without having any self-importance, without trying to score a brownie point, without trying to become, seek a prominence. Some of the idiots are talking about they themselves go to Shirdi and call themselves as Mahasai, that is greater than Sai. Those idiots are there. Nevertheless, so those kind of things is a downfall, pit into the gutters. Let us not do that. Devoid of all those things, we have to emulate our masters. We have to emulate our Guru. We have to become one. So when you are serving the cause of the master selflessly, devoid of self-importance and selfishness, then you are the instrument of Lord. You are part of that mission of the saints. You are that saint himself. You are his extension yourself. There is no he, there is no you. That is how we should practice our service. By doing so, we evolve. By doing so, we also establish dharma. By establishing dharma, you are him. By serving his cause, which is establishment of dharma, you are the dharma. You are him. He is you. You will attain Advaita, you will attain union. That is the takeaway. This is not, this paragraph is restricting about missions of saints, but how do we become part of their mission? And ensure that we also become one with them. Those are the hidden jewels of each story of Shri Sai Satcharitra, where we have to decipher and take away and live by it. So instrumental devotion, right? Then subsequently, we talk about now the advent of Sri Sainatha. Well, I am not trying to say that how great or greater than the other masters our master is, our guru is. No, I'm not trying to say. Please, I'm not that biased and I'm not that stupid to differentiate between the masters. They are all the same. But I just have to state this fact that Shirdi is such a place. There is no particular religion. The four artis are nothing but assertions, and we are talking about the Guru. The artis is a poetic narration of our assertion. That's about it. It is not a mantra. It's not a bijakshara. It is not bija mantra. It is not a mantrochara. It is not from the Veda mantras. No. It is artis. So artis are nothing but prayers offered or assertions mentioned, offered. They have no religious significance. Artis are not restricted to a particular religion. That is all is performed in Shirdi. Number one. Origin of Baba, it doesn't matter to us. Whether what was the religion his biological parents belonged to is none of our concern. So there is no religion in Shirdi. There is no restriction in Shirdi. There is no a particular religion's person is allowed, others are not allowed. This person is in the caste, creed, religion, nothing persists. Anybody can go. Everybody can go. We know for a fact that Muslims, Hindus, Christians, Sikhs, Parsis, Jews, everybody goes to Shri. Everybody being allowed into different religious places is different. There, the identity of a particular religion is there. In Shirdi, there is no. There is no religion in Shirdi. Few places, if you see within the confines of the Baba's Darbar, Dwarka Mai, Masjid, Baba sitting there. Janmashtami is happening there. Tulsi is planted. Havan is happening, eternal Havan is happening. What kind of a mask is that? I mean, it's just very, you know, it's very cryptic, right? Then Chavdi, every alternative day or Thursday, he used to go and rest there, do his sadhanas there. Gurusthana is a place where highest amount of respect is offered to Guru. The very purpose of Baba's descent or ascent in Shirdi is because of the call of the Guru. The significance and importance of Guru, respect of Guru, respect to Guru is all happening in Gurusthan. Where is the religion? And to my knowledge, there is no other place on earth where a spiritual place is not identified by a particular religion. We being allowed to a spiritual center or a religious place, though not being of that particular religion, is a different. Here there is no religion. Sai is God in two languages, Persian and in Marathi. Both Sai means divine. Persian also, in Marathi also. Baba means in Marathi father. That's it. God is my father. The divine father. That's all. Transliteration. That's all is his name. He doesn't even have a name. It is an address. He's been addressed as Sai Baba. He doesn't have a name. He doesn't have a religion. He doesn't have any varnas. He is, I mean, I don't know. I have no words to define him. Defined as undefinable. Doesn't have a name. Our conditioned mind restricts ourselves to Sai Baba, Sai Baba, Sai Baba, a person, Shirdi Sai Baba, okay, fine, this person. No, Sai is divine, Baba is father. That's it. Is it a name? No. It's in Persia, it's in Marathi, it is just an assertion, it is a way of addressing. It's like, Mr. So and so. Mr. is a title. So and so is the name. Here it is only Mr. Sai Baba, that's it. So what I am trying to say is, when Dabodkar says, now here here happened the advent of Sri Sai Baba at Shirdi. What we have to understand is no religion, no caste, no creed, no varnas, no superior, no inferior, no rich, no poor, nothing. Humanity. The divine Father and you. That's it. Nothing in between. No rituals. Nothing. Again, as I explained about Aartis, besides that, there is nothing. And you don't need anyone between him and you. No one. He and you. Aham, the Brahma. Tattvam Asi. You are thou. No one in between. That is the beauty of Shirdi. That is Advaita. That is Shunya. That is Shirdi. That is the supreme consciousness. That is you. Blessed is he who has become one with me. Clear Advaita Shunya. That is Sainatha. Where the philosophy of Shunya is coming from, being it's not mentioned in Satcharitra, we dive deep into and bring a logical interpretation, not an imaginary interpretation. This is the meaning of Shunya of Avadhuta. So with this, we conclude the first paragraph of Shri Sai Satcharitra's chapter 4. Sai Ram.